Hello everybody, welcome back to the shop. Well, what can I say? It's been a productive couple of days, and you can see I've got new horizontal stabs. I got the skins laid up. I got to build up the internals, and I'm debating on doing it a different way on these than the previous way, something that'll be easier and quicker to get them all joined up and everything, as far as the whole pivot shafts and all. Last video I showed you guys the wing on its pivot bracket. I told you I had to lay up the carbon spar for that. I've got that done. We'll get to that here in a minute. You can see the lids off the back of the fuselage over there. So that comes to where we're at now. I showed you guys kind of the whole internal structure stuff. See, I got that other wing panel there. I haven't stress tested it yet. Just kind of running some stuff through my head, make sure my design work and everything's going to work out the way I want it to. Anyway, since I got all those machine parts now, I can now kind of start clamping stuff in here and seeing how it's going to work. See, we got the rear bulkhead. Again, this will be plywood, laminated with carbon fiber on both sides. Got the pivot actuator. You can kind of see the marks I have right here. It's off by that much, so it's about 1/8 of an inch too far. And what happens is the control arm down there on the bottom, try and get you guys an idea, you can see it's very close to the carbon fiber of the skin. There's about 1/8 of an inch clearance right there. That's literally how close it was. So I had to move this towards the center some. No big deal. I got plenty of room for the shafts. Got all that done. See, you got your nice servo mount here. Again, two 8711s or 8911s will fit. Anything basically standard servo size. And this plate will actually get spun around 180 degrees. As it is right now, the servos are too far out. So when you put the servo in line, you can see the control arm is like right there in the way. So this will get flipped around, and it brings the servo arm and everything in line, so you have a nice straight linkage. So there's that partial bulkhead. Somehow these are the original ones. I haven't had another set cut out yet, but you can see how short it is of being wide enough. Both sides are like that. These are getting extended to come over to this edge of the line here. You got the square, the peg, then another hole. There'll be that Arex board we laid up a while back. That'll fill in this hole, run right down the edge of here. This will plug into it. Big lightning holes right here between them. They'll continue on, and it'll fill into that hole. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to continue it any further than that. I probably will. What I'll probably do is come into here, and I'll notch the bulkhead out either here or up here in the top, probably the top, and then I'll continue it through all the way to this portion here on the carbon box spar, which I'll show you guys in detail here in a second. And then it'll butt up against here, and it'll get high solid, glass, carbon, whatever, all in place. So basically from here all the way to the back, I'll get two nice large longerons that go to full depth from the bottom skin to that top skin over there. And that'll basically be all the structure in the back. I don't believe I'll need anything more than that. All this should add plenty of rigidity to it, especially with all this full Arex skin on it. See the wing I got in there? When we laid up the wing, well, I should say when we joined the wings, told you guys I had to put the notch in there for it to clear the box spar. Notch is way too big, which I kind of expected. I didn't want it to get too small of a notch. That wouldn't fit, but what I mean by way too big is when the wing's unswept, there's where the fairing stops. So you can see it's just a little bit too big, which is fine. If I would have been paying more attention, I could have stopped the cutout when I did the cutout, but I wanted to see how far out it was going to be. So we'll pull that out. Again, you see horizontal stabs. I got rid of that real thick 3mm Arex core. I went to a 1mm core. I told you guys that last video I needed the titanium out of it, and I wasn't really happy with those stabs anyway. The more I thought about it, the more I realized 1 pound per stab was just kind of insane. So I laid these up, carbon fiber where the anti-pivot rod is going to be, and then again where the pivot shaft is. Doubled here, not so much here. Actually, it is doubled here on both sides of the AirX. And this is only 3 layers of glass as well. Just like kind of the fuselage, it's just a lighter glass. This is the tail section. Once I get all the internal stuff figured out in my head, I'll chop some parts out, or I'll draw them up in CAD and get my buddy to cut them out. We'll cut them out and we'll join these things. Hopefully we'll have 1 pound or less for a pair of stabs instead of a pound per stab. All right, the big old carbon box spar. You guys are gonna, you're gonna freak when you see this. When I was laying it up, I was like, wow, this is a lot of carbon fiber. And then when I pulled it out, I actually realized how much carbon fiber it was. You can see the box spar. Like I said, full width, the whole width of the fuselage. I'll come back here so you guys can see a little bit better. Well, you can't really see it better, period. Like you can see over here, machine bracket. Over there is a machine bracket. Box spar, you can see the wood bulkheads below it that butt up against the bottom of it and support it to the top of the fuselage skin, and it connects it to the bottom skin. Everything is one big box right here. I mean, basically from this point all the way over to this point, it's fully supported by bulkheads, fuselage skin, or the actual box bar itself. After laying this one up, I think I can get rid of some of the material from it. It's it's like that first wing panel you guys just saw. It's pretty overkill, I think. It is about almost 3/8 of an inch thick, except and the ends down here where it bolts, where these brackets bolt in, those things are like 5/8 of an inch thick. I mean, it's a beefy thing. We'll I'll get the camera in a tripod here in a minute. We'll pull that thing out. But you see, full width, completely supported by the entire fuselage structure, and then the brackets are the only thing that are freestanding, and they're only about 3 inches, 2.5, 3 inches from the bolting point to the pivot shaft location. So there's very little unsupported structure out there. So that's where the fuselage is at the moment. The other day I also laid up the second ventral fins. They're here ready to be joined together. I'll join those up later. I did the inlets again. The first set I wasn't happy with because I didn't get the vacuum bag them because the bags were just leaking too horribly bad. But 2 new sets. These are the first ones I did. I didn't bag them. These were just kind of laid up, and you can see it. The paint didn't stick everywhere. They turned out horrible. So these are trash. These things only weigh like 2.5 ounces a piece. That's a bunch of surface area for 2.5 ounces. Say hi, little guy. The jet pilot in training. So, all right, well, let me put this thing on the tripod, and we'll pull that box spar out so you guys can see just how much of a monster it really is. I'm gonna move you over here to the other table as well, give you guys a better look at things. Clean all this hardware off of this thing. Pull the bulkheads out. See, the bulkheads are still continuous for now. Yeah, exactly right. Come on, let's go in the house. Did you come to the house? What? Come on, Daddy. Come on. Alright, now that the loud one's out of the way. Let me grab my screw gun. Such a tight fit, it's almost able to come out without taking the whole top of this going off. Come on. Alright, now it should come out. Maybe. Alright. This is the infamous box bar. You can see this is one heavy duty piece of layup. The ends of it, like I said, these things are, it's built to hold a ton of force. This is a piece of, I think it's 1/2 inch aircraft grade plywood that's sandwiched in between. I think it's 4 layers of carbon, the plywood, and then another 4 layers of carbon. The edge panels here, it's 4 layers of carbon, some Rohacel 71 3mm stuff, 2 layers of carbon, another layer of 3mm Rohacel 71, and 2 more layers of carbon. So I mean, there's 6 layers of carbon. It's all 12K stuff, so it's really beefy stuff. This Rohacel goes full width of the thing, and there's also Rohacel on this bottom portion of it as well. The carbon layup by itself is just over 1.5 pounds, and by the time you add these pivot brackets, it comes out to 3 pounds even. So I mean, it's a heavy piece of work, but it's like a tank, literally. It's a little overkill. The brackets are 1.5 pounds, center section's 1.5 pounds. The brackets I don't really want to pull a lot of material out of. They're about as lightweight as I want. I mean, they are 1/4 inch thick flanges, so at least on the prototype, they're not going to get changed. The center spar is not going to get changed at all either. You can see it's shape of the top of the fuselage. One little hiccup I do have, if I don't drop and break it, is I have to notch the fuselage flange at the moment to fit, because you can see the aluminum bracket comes up above there, and this notch is actually here for the overwing fairing hatch anyway, so it's not really a big deal to have to notch the fuselage at all. I kind of expected to have to do that anyway. Currently it's just single 440 bolt right there in the middle. It is getting replaced with aircraft hardware eventually. Center bolt only at the moment. The other ones aren't drilled out. Reason why is one, this way you can loosen that bolt up and you can actually twist this bracket to set your wing incidence. And then once your wing incidence is set, it would drill these bolt holes out for your hardware. And then your wing incidence is permanently set. As far as getting the bolts in here, a couple options. One, you do threaded inserts. They do have some aircraft's threaded inserts that are supposed to never come out. That's one option. The other option is just a washer and a lock nut on the back side, like I've got on this one, or you can do blind nuts or whatever. It kind of depends on what you're most comfortable with. Well, what I decided to throw in there with the box of parts with the kit. I might even just go ahead and do that stuff as a prefab portion of it. Wondering how you're going to get to them. Where this hatch gets notched out, the hatch will get notched out about right there, so this will fit. And right just back here on the back side, I'll have a little opening in the flange of the fuselage, which is right about here. That'll go through so you can get to these back 2 bolts and the center bolt, and then on the bottom I'm going to have another little access hatch and the bottom of the box bar that you can get to. Well, it's not going to be a hatch, it's going to be a hole. But since this thing is so overbuilt, that little hole shouldn't do much. It's just going to be a little, probably a 3/4 inch or 1 inch by 1.5 inch hole, so you can get a wrench up in there on the lock nuts or whatever. But if I do the threaded inserts or the blind nuts, I won't even have the hole on the bottom. So like I said, this thing is one monstrous piece of machinery. I've already tried to break it by supporting it between 2 chairs, and yeah, I mean the thing is put it on the table and it doesn't move at all. It doesn't budge one bit. It's solid. It's heavy and it's solid. I don't have any more of this carbon. I ran out doing this. There's about $300 of materials in just this spar. But I don't have any more of the carbon. So once I order some more, I'll make up another one. Probably a little bit lighter. I'll probably still do the 2 layers, the Rohis L71 or the RX 70, 75, whatever. I'll just do, instead of 6 layers of carbon, I'll probably just do 2 layers. Or not 2 layers, but 4 layers. Or I might drop down to 6 layers of 6K cloth instead of 6 layers of 12K. Haven't decided. Something to kind of play around with and see where we get. But that's where I'm at with this project. Going over to my buddy's Chris's tomorrow. We're gonna do some work on his A10. We're gonna start weighing up some parts for him. I think we're gonna do the tail section in the first wing panel. If I remember this time, I'll actually take the old video camera here and we'll kick it on while the CNC machine's running, because we're going to cut out another set of parts for this thing, and the fun part, or at least the time consuming parts, we're going to start cutting out some cockpit panels for this thing as well. I got all the CAD work done on that, or at least as much as I'm going to do for now. But we're going to do that. We're going to start cutting the parts out for the cockpit on the F-14. So maybe I'll have some detailed parts to show you guys. If things work out, it should fit the Flagler-Jet and the Skymaster. So for those who want a really nice cockpit, I could probably offer those parts as well. But that's where I am for now. Next time I get in here and start working on some parts, maybe I'll show you guys how I figure out how to do my templates and how to import paper plans into CAD the quick and the easier way, but not the quick way. I don't think there's any way of doing it quickly. So till then, you ladies and gentlemen, have a good one, and maybe on the next video you'll see me building an X-plane instead of an F-14. I don't know, we'll see. I need a break. Too much stuff running through my head. So y'all have a good one. See ya.